Welcome to the CISSP Cyber Training Podcast, where we provide you the training and tools you need to pass the CISSP exam the first time. Hi, my name is Sean Gerber, and I'm your host for this action-packed, informative podcast. Join me each week as I provide the information you need to pass the CISSP exam and grow your cybersecurity knowledge. All right, let's get started. Hey, I'm Sean Gerber with CISSP Cyber Training, and I hope you all are having a great day today. Today is CISSP Question Thursday, so we are going to be going over CISSP questions related to Domain 4. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that, and this is the follow-on to what we have from the podcast that occurs on Monday with the various domains that we're having. So this one will be over Domain 4 because Monday's was over Domain 4. And so we're going to kind of get into various aspects of IPv4, V6, IGMP, ICMP, and ARP routing tables. So yeah, just some questions around those. But before we do, again, one of the things that popped up in the news, just saw this morning, and it's actually, again, quite disturbing. The fact that there was another wastewater service plant that was attacked with ransomware, one in the United States and one in the UK. This one is Veolia, V-E-O-L-I-A, Veolia, North America and United States, and Southern Water in the United Kingdom. Both hit a ransomware attacks and had some data breaches associated with it. The bad thing is, obviously, is wastewater treatment plants may seem benign, but unfortunately, we all need them because we all use the restroom, and therefore we need that to be clean, right? So if they have problems and you can't use the restroom anymore, then yeah, it becomes a bit of a problem. So hitting them with ransomware attacks, I know there has been various groups that have been targeting the critical infrastructure, and this is no different than before. I'd say just in this past year, this is probably the 7th or 8th one that I've seen of that's actually hit either wastewater treatment facilities or water treatment facilities of some kind. Right now at this point, no ransomware group has taken attack or credit for the attack, and they service about, let's see, what does it say? About 2.5 million customers is the one that services in the United States, and then the one in England is about 4.7 million in south of England. So it's obviously ramping up substantially what's going on. They said they stole about 750 gigs of files, obviously with personal information and corporate documents, and that's to be expected almost in these types of events. But the bigger issue that I see is not necessarily the stealing of data, which is a bad deal, right? We don't want people's personal information stolen, but like the mother of all breaches that occurred last week or earlier this week, I just expect your stuff is out there. But the bigger issue is the fact that if they have any sort of control over these wastewater treatment facilities, having remote control, remote access to them is a very dangerous aspect. And we really are hopeful that something will come of this where there's maybe some, I don't want legislation, believe me, I really don't, but that may be what's required to get some of these actions taken. But this is hard already on an overly strained cybersecurity group of people trying to ensure that this stuff gets secured and managed correctly. But so that's about all I've got for that. So let's roll into the CISSP exam questions, and we're going to talk about Domain 4. And you can go to CISSP Cyber Training and you can get access to these questions along with a plethora of many other questions that are all available for you. Now, again, trying to reaffirm the fact that these questions are not questions you will exactly see on the ISC squared CISSP exam. That is not the case. These questions are designed to help you understand what they're actually asking. That's the purpose of these questions, is to get you thinking like a security manager, a security leader that can then, when something happens in your organization, you make decisions based on it. Okay, so let's roll into question number 1. What is the primary reason for subnetting in IPv4 networks? Okay, what is the primary reason for subnetting in IPv4 networks? A, enhanced security. B, efficient IP address allocation. C, improved routing. Or D, faster data transfer? Again, the primary reason for subnetting in IP4 networks, and the answer is B, efficient IP address allocation. This allows for organizations to optimize address space usage and manage networks more effectively. Question 2, in IPv6, what is the purpose of a link local address? in IPv6, what is the purpose of a link local address? A, global internet communication. B, communication with the same subnet. C, multicast group membership. Or D, experimental testing. Again, the purpose of a link local address. And it is B, communication with the same subnet. Link local addresses are in IPv6 are specifically designed for communications within the same subnet. And this can be done through the link local address to communicate without the need for a globally unique address. Okay, these are automatically configured and are not routable beyond the local subnet. So that is the purpose of a link local address. Question 3, which IP class uses a standard default subnet of 255.255.0.0? Again, what is this default subnet? Which IP class, your ABCD, right, will use the default subnet of 255.255.0.0? And the answer is B. Okay, there's A, B, C, D, right? Class A, B, C, and D. The answer is B, Class B. Class B networks have the default subnet mask of 255.255.0.0. Basically, the first two octets are reserved for the network portion, and the last two are available for the host addresses. So again, we talked about this before. It's for medium-sized businesses. Class A are much larger, and C are more restrictive in size. Question 4, which ICMP message type is commonly used for network troubleshooting by sending an echo request? Which ICMP message type is commonly used for network troubleshooting by sending an echo request? A, destination unreachable. B, redirect message. C, echo message or echo request / reply, or D, time exceeded. So which ICMP message is commonly used for network troubleshooting by sending an echo request? And the answer is C, echo request / reply. The ICMP echo request / reply is often referred to as the ping, right? That's what we talk about as a ping. You ping in something, you send a ping to it. Okay, this request message sends the recipient responds to the echo reply. This process helps determine the reachability of the host and the round trip time for the data to travel from the source to the destination and back. That's the purpose of it. Question 5, which version of the IGMP introduces source-specific multicast, allowing precise control over group membership? Which version of the IGMP introduces source-specific multicast, allowing precise control over group membership? A, IGMP version 1. B, IGMP version 2. C, IGMP version 3. And D, IGMP version 4. Which version of IGMP introduces source-specific multicast, allowing precise control over group membership? And the answer is C, IGMP version 3. Is it improved over other previous versions because it includes source-specific multicast? This allows the host to specify the sources from which they want to receive the multicast traffic from. And it does provide more granular control over group memberships. It's particularly useful in scenarios where precise control over multicast communication is necessary. Question number 6. What is the primary function of ARP, Address Resolution Protocol? Okay, so what is the primary function of ARP? A, map IP addresses to MAC addresses. B, assign IP addresses. C, establish secure connections. Or D, manage multicast group memberships. What is the primary purpose of ARP, Address Resolution Protocol? And the answer is A, map addresses to MAC addresses. We talked about this before. IP addresses to MACs is what the purpose of the ARP protocol is for, the ARP routing tables. The MAC address is when a device needs to communicate with another one on the same subnet. It uses ARP to discover the MAC address associated with the IP address. Question 7, what does CIDR stand for? Classful Internet Domain Routing, A. B, Centralized Internet Design and Routing. C, Controlled Internet Dynamic Routing. Or D, Classless Interdomain Routing. What does CIDR stand for? And the answer is D, Classless Interdomain Routing. CIDR is a method by which to use to allocate and specify IP addresses in their routing behavior, and it allows for more flexible and efficient allocation of IP addresses. The notation that you'll see typically with the CIDR addresses is /8, 16, 24, and so forth. That indicates the number of bits used for the network portion of the address. Question 8. Which address 192.168.1.1 belongs to which class? A, Class A, B, Class C, C, Class B, or D, Class D? Mixed it up a bit. Which address 192.168.1 belongs to which one? And 192.168.1.1 belongs to Class C. Class C addresses are commonly used for small networks, and that is where it falls in that range for the Class C address, 192.168. Okay, so question 9. What is the CIDR equivalent of the subnet mask 255.255.255.192? And then, so this is going to be what is the equivalent of that? So let's kind of break that out. A/26, B/25, C/24, or D/23. So what is the CIDR equivalent of the subnet mask 255.255.255.192? And it is /26. So in this case, the subnet mask of what we talked about, 3255 sort of 192, has 26 bits dedicated to the network portion, making it equivalent to a /26. Now, if you're going to look at as we talk about this, one thing to kind of put into perspective is those other examples that I gave you, 22/24, 25, 26, 27. So to put it, if you're seeing this on the video, you can see this, go to CISSP Cyber Training, you can see the video of it, or I'll just kind of walk you through it on the podcast piece of this. But a /27 would be, your subnet mask would be a 255, 255s.224. That would be a /27 because that has 5 bits. Okay, so that's total IP addresses would be 32. Now, when you're dealing with the .192, that's a /26 because there's 6 bits, and there's 64 IP addresses that are tied to that. Now, when you get a /25, it's the 255, but then it gets to the .128, and that's your /25, and your IP address gives you 128 different IP addresses that you can utilize it. And then a /24, your /24 would be your 255.255.0. That's your 8 bits, and that would give you 256 IP addresses. So basically, you're getting down to when you move up in your CIDR notation of 20/24 all the way up to 20/27, your amount of IP addresses goes down as you go up. So again, just think about it in the fact if it's a /24, you're going to get the full 256. As you go up in the slashes, you're going to end up getting less of your IP addresses that are available to you. And I see the slash is less of the CIDR notation. Okay, question 10. In IPv6, which address range is reserved for multicast? Okay, in IPv6, which address range is reserved for multicast? A, 128.0.0.0 to 191.255.255.255.255. Okay, I'll go through these, but you guys will all fall over asleep when you hear me talking 255 all the time. So then it's going to be basically 128.0 to 191.255 and then on. The next one is 192.0 to 223.255. The next one is 224.0 to 239.255. And then the next one is 240.0 to 255 on. Okay, so we know the 255 on, just throw that out. That isn't going to work. But when we're dealing with IPv6, which address range is reserved for multicast? In the IPv6, so I'm not giving you IPv6 IP addresses, I'm basically giving you a IPv4. But when you're dealing with multicast, IPv6, like IPv4, designates specific ranges for the multicast. The IPv6 ranges is from 224.0 to 239.255. These are used for efficient one-to-many communications with specific group of hosts. Question 10. A security analyst is reviewing the IPv6 address scheme for a new network segment. They notice that several devices have the same addresses starting with FE, Foxtrot Echo 80, What is a security concern does this raise? Okay, so you have several devices that have the IP address starting with FE80. A, these devices are vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks. B, these devices are using private addresses and cannot access the internet. C, these devices are likely to be rogue or unauthorized. Or D, these devices are configured for static addressing and may not receive security updates. So again, IPv6, that's what we're talking about. The security analyst is reviewing the IPv6 address scheme for a new network segment. Notice that several devices have addresses starting with FE80. What is the security concern associated? And the answer is C. The devices are likely to be rogue or unauthorized. So FE80 are link local addresses in IPv6 and are automatically assigned to the network interfaces. They are not only valid within the same local network, typically just a single switch or a small subnet. These devices are link local and cannot be directly routed from the outside to the local network. So the bottom line is if you see a couple of these set up, then it's odds are high there might be a rogue network something going on, right? You might have a rogue IP address, could be a device that's on the network that shouldn't be there, just something to kind of consider. Question 11, what is the primary purpose of a Class E IP address? A, large networks. B, experimental testing. C, multicast group membership. D, small networks. What is the primary purpose of a Class E IP address? And the answer is B, experimental testing. Again, Class E's are reserved for experimental and research purposes only. In IPv6, what is the subnetting equivalent to the address 2001, a lot of words. We'll go an octet, 4, another octet, another octet, another octet, multiple octets, because we're dealing with IPv6, right? /64. What is the subnetting equivalent to address this? And it is A, 48. A is /48. B, /56. C, /72, or D, /64. And obviously the answer is C, or D, /64. Okay, CIDR notation is often obviously required as /n, whatever the n number is, a number of bits. And the /64 in this situation with this IPv6 address means it is a /64. Question 13. Which ICMP type is commonly associated with ICMP flood attacks causing denial of service? A, echo requests and reply. B, destination unreachable. C, redirect message. Or D, time exceeded. Which ICMP type is commonly associated with ICMP floods attacks causing denial of service? And the answer is A, echo requests and replies. We talked about the ping. It's basically a ping flood. ICMP flood attacks are when you're trying to do an echo request or reply, you'll get a ping flood, which will fill up the bandwidth on the network. Question 14. How does CIDR improve address allocation compared to traditional class-based addressing? How does CIDR improve address allocation compared to traditional class-based addressing? A, by allocating large address space. B, by enforcing strict class boundaries. C, by simplifying the subnetting. Or D, by allowing flexible address allocation. So, how does the CIDR improve address allocation compared to traditional class-based addresses? And the answer is D, by allowing flexible address allocation. Okay, CIDR introduces flexible and IP address allocation by allowing variable length subnetting. Unlike the traditional class-based addresses, it does not enforce strict class boundaries. Basically, it doesn't force them to stay within your class A, B, C, or D. This enables organizations to allocate addresses based on their specific needs, reducing address wastage. That's a new term that I did not know, wastage, and optimizing resource utilization. Okay, last question. Which IP address range falls under Class B? 192.0.0.0, 128.0.0.0. Okay, so I gotta give you the rest of it. 192.0.0.0 to 223.255, 128.0 to 191.255, 224.0 to 239.255, or 1.0 to 126.1.255. Okay, which IP address falls under Class B? And we know the Class B is B, 128.0 to 191.255. Goes up to 192, because 192, once you get into that, it is a Class C. So 128 to 191.255. That is the range for a Class B. Okay, again, this is for a medium-sized network. And again, this is IPv4, not IPv6. Correct. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and we will catch you on the flip side. See ya.
Hey, thanks again for listening today. It's been my pleasure to prep you for the CISSP exam. Are you interested, though, in some free CISSP exam questions? Head on over to freecisspquestions.com and sign up to join my email list, and you'll receive access for 60 free CISSP questions each and every month for the next 6 months. That's a total of 360 questions just for signing up with CISSP Cyber Training. You'll also gain access to other free CISSP resources, so just head on over to freecisspquestions.com and sign up, or head on over to CISSPcybertraining.com and sign up today. Have a wonderful day, and we will catch you on the flip side. See ya.